Hello, dear ones. This is your April 8th solar eclipse update for 2024. Big total solar eclipse, the Great American Eclipse. I will be giving you everything you need to know, the remedies, how this will affect you, how to navigate it. And I just want to acknowledge that you may be feeling stressed or tired or anxious and, or under pressure in some way. That is completely normal, although it's uncomfortable. So take a step back, give yourself some space, and understanding the energy is going to really help you to navigate this period of time and understanding what it actually means for you. Hi, I'm Prema, and welcome to Chart Your Path. I am so glad that you are here. I appreciate you so much subscribing, liking, sharing this content. If it's resonating for you, it just helps to get the information out there for more people. If you don't know what your ascendant sign or your moon sign, which is so helpful for understanding these Vedic astrology updates, the link is down below in the description for the free chart calculator. The solar eclipse on April 8th is a total solar eclipse. It is going to be seen from Mexico through the United States, from Texas up through Maine and up through the eastern seaboard of Canada. Wherever an eclipse is seen in its totality, especially when it's a total solar eclipse, which shifts our path, shifts our paradigm, shifts our direction, then it's more impactful for the collective of that area. The solar eclipse will affect all of us. And depending on where you're what planets you might have in Pisces, in Virgo, because it's the Pisces-Virgo axis in Vedic astrology, where this total solar eclipse, a very poignant solar eclipse, is happening. If you have planets there, if you're running your Rahu cycle, your Sun, your Moon, your Ketu cycle, it can be more impactful for you. And by knowing your chart, you will be able to decipher if that's you or not. And I am running an eclipse reading, and if you want to know all of this energy and how it affects you in particular, specifically for you, then link is down below to my special offer eclipse readings. So where is Pisces in your chart? Pisces is where this eclipse will take place. And there is other planets, involved in this area of the chart. The solar eclipse is casting this shadow from Texas all the way to the eastern seaboard of the United States, Maine, and then also that part of Canada as well. And the last solar eclipse we had also originated in Texas, making this X, and went to Oregon. That was an annular eclipse. There is some big stuff probably up for the United States. We're already feeling it, a lot of polarity. But, sometimes there has to be these extremes before we break through. And this is a paradigm shifting eclipse. I'm interested in how it's going to impact us more on a personal level, although the collective is very important. And again, this is an update on a collective level. Now, it is happening in the 6-12 axis. Pisces is the natural 12th house of the zodiac. Virgo is the natural 6th house of the zodiac. And 12th house is relinquishment. It's letting go. It's moksha. It's transcendence. This eclipse is very much about completing cycles, surrendering, and really aligning with our deeper spiritual wisdom. And the 12th house is the end of the zodiac. It is where we're dissolving. We're coming to completion around things before we rebirth again in Aries. And as the sun will move into Aries on the 13th after this eclipse is when the Vedic New Year is. And we start again. And there's something that's wanting to be birthed through all of us and as a collective. But in order to do that, we have to also, come to this culmination point. Eclipses are cosmic triggers, causing us to grow. They can also bring in endings and new beginnings, and they can complicate things. They are sort of known as a knot of complications, the nodes of the moon. So there'll be big unexpected shifts and changes collectively and personally for us. Identity shifts in many ways. And the last time we had the eclipse pattern in this axis is back in 2005, 2006. So think back, what was going on for you during that time? 2005, 2006. Interested to know. And history doesn't always repeat itself, as Mark Twain would say, but it often rhymes. And it's good to look at the themes of our life and what we've been through, what we noticed, and how can we maybe up level that, do it differently this time. There's a letting go that is unnerving, but that's opening us up to a new cycle. There can be a resolve to things. The 12th house has to do with our spirituality, spiritual pilgrimages. This is a place of foreign travel, foreign countries, our dreams. It's about transcendence, transcending this world into the truth. With the world behind our eyes. And, it's an extreme time. The nodes of the moon bring in this pressure, and the nodes of the moon being the magician is the north node of the moon, the mystic is the south node of the moon. The south node of the moon is currently in Virgo. The magician is in Pisces, and they'll be here for about 18-month period of time. This is the first eclipse in this cycle. It is the sun, our great king, our great celebrity, that is getting eclipsed. The sun represents our soul. It represents our identity on many levels. It represents our ego, our self. I mean, we do have to have a sense of self and who we are on a soul level. It's, also think of the leaders of the world. That's ruled by the sun, the politicians, whether you agree with them or not, whatever, but they're all getting eclipsed during this time. It's a shadow period of time and we can't see everything. So the sun being eclipsed means that we're not in our complete clarity in the world in front of our eyes, and we need to pay attention more to the world behind our eyes. That being said, and I will give you all the remedies, it is not a time to make big decisions that you don't have to make during this cloudy, stormy period of time. Eclipses are like a storm. And in a storm, things are shifting and changing. The wind's blowing outside. The chairs are getting, moved around the yard. Maybe there's branches breaking. We don't run out in the middle of it and deal with all of it. We only deal with what we have to. And then when it's over, we sort things out. And that's how I want you to think about these eclipses. It's really important. They are triggers of growth. They are important for our development. They agitate two areas of life. And in that agitation, like the jeans going through the washing machine, they go for a heck of a ride, but they come out clean in the end. Okay? But the ride is often quite bumpy and not necessarily very comfortable. Again, depending on how this is hitting you, planets, degrees, etc., cycle you're running will be relevant to how you experience it. You want to have the intention to just stay present, keep life as simple as you can, and just be very present with what's unfolding for you, like internally and externally. Like internally, 1 minute you could be feeling like, I don't even know why I'm doing what I'm doing anymore. And the next minute you could feel wildly creative and inspired. You can see, relationships closing or, the work that you're doing. You can just feel like, wow, I just feel like putting it all down and going on retreat for the next 2 years. This is very normal during this time. So again, we don't want to make the plans to do that. Instead, we want to honor our feelings, do some journaling. This is an incredible time for spiritual practice. I'll talk a little bit more about that. This being in Pisces, that natural 12th house of the zodiac. But for you, what is it? For me, it's my 7th house. It's a house of intimate partnership and business partnership. Jupiter owns this placement. Jupiter being our great sage, our great visionary, and our great teacher. Well, because Jupiter owns Pisces, and it's in Aries right now, in a pretty good position in Aries, that's helpful for us. Jupiter is our great sage. Now, Venus is exalted, Venus being our great artist, our great muse, and our great connector. Venus is exalted and will be in Pisces and is in Pisces during this eclipse and will be right about at 10 degrees when the eclipse is happening. So it's not getting quite eclipsed. It's 15 degrees away from the actual eclipse, but it is part of the party here. Now, this is the house of, both of the guru planets. That's because Venus rules one set of the camp, so to speak, of planets in Vedic astrology, and Guru Jupiter is the leader of the other. And so they're both, Pisces is this place where they both do incredibly well. It gives us both spiritual knowledge, advancement, heightened intuition, and it gives us, with Venus, more of that, material wealth and devotion and divine love energy. It's expansive and generous, the energy of Pisces, and it wants to help others. So in that, this is going to reflect a theme for you in this expansiveness and generosity and how you want to help others. So you may not feel like you're measuring up right now. There's a lot of things coming out from, the corners of your soul during this time. Pisces is a water sign, and water in the form of steam. It really is that fine, fine, fine particle of water that can seep into all the nooks and crannies of the soul. And again, a place of spiritual transcendence. This is in a very imaginative, intuitive placement, and where you want to be of service and help people at some level. On an energetic level and on a very deep level, you want to help them. It is so who we are, who we're being, how we're living, what is our offering in the world, but it's so much about who are you being? How is that contributing? And we all play a part in this paradigm shift, how you are being, how you are living, what you are expressing, what's coming through you, how congruent you are with your true path, which is between you and your soul, and really navigating yourself, your life, your work in the world from the inside out. That's what is coming up here. These are the lessons. This is a time for moksha. It's spiritual liberation. That's what the 12th house is about, and Pisces. And this is the energy that we're working with. So the shadow side here of Pisces, and especially with Rahu, the magician, north node of the moon in Pisces, is this illusion, fantasy, checking out. Rahu's very, very compulsive, obsessive compulsive. So this is not a time to check out. Whether you're binging anything, this is not a time to check out. This is a time to check in and really tune out a lot of what's coming at you and tune into what's coming through you. You are a vessel, and there's much that comes through you that's only going to come through you. So we want to stay very tuned into that. And in a noisy world as we're living in, that is not always an easy thing to do. So you have to be very conscious about what you're allowing into your field and the boundaries and energetic boundaries you're setting up, so that you're not so permeated, you're not so influenced by those who want to influence you. Rahu, the north node of the moon, wants everything and wants it preferably now. It expands whatever's it's with. Well, it amplifies. Jupiter expands things, but Rahu amplifies. It really pumps up whatever it is associated with. So it's an amplifier of things. And the magician is very much the planet of involution. That's where we're taking energy, thoughts, whatever, and we're manifesting in the world. That's why the mantra for the magician is, I'm a master manifester. Well, we can manifest whatever, from the dark to the light and everywhere in between and beyond. So we want to be conscious of what that is. The intention, again, is that trigger for growth. And Rahu's incredibly powerful, can bring in new opportunities. And it relative to where it is in your chart, but there's going to be a theme of transcendence because it is in Pisces. It has a tendency, Rahu does, to spin too many plates and make life too complicated. Remember, not all the opportunities that are coming your way are for you. That's why I say do not make big decisions you don't have to make during this eclipse time. If you need to make a decision, take your time, tune in, get clear, get whatever counsel you need, and make a very present, conscious choice, not from a place of being in or urgency, so that you can be in as much clarity as possible. But if you don't need to make the decision, wait till the storm has settled, because not all the information is in yet. So with this energy, it's very much about our worldly desires, where the lunar eclipse we just had, and you can refer back to my lunar eclipse video to understand that energy, because it plays into this energy. That was all about relinquishing and letting go. Because of the south node of the moon, it was happening in Virgo, so it had a different flavor to it. It's more about spiritual wealth, where Pisces, we could say, is about spiritual wealth, but the Magician's about material wealth, the north node of the moon. So it's more complicated. In the mythology, Rahu, the Magician, is the head of the serpent, and it has all five senses, where Ketu, the mystic, the south node of the moon, is the body and tail that actually embodies and digests and sorts things out, as we do with our digestive system. Rahu just is insatiable desire in so many ways, and because it's the head, it's got a lot of obsession to it, and it's off and on all. Our minds can take us many places, but the reality of what we can actually embody may be very different. So we have to be aware of that. Are we obsessed? Are we intoxicated with things? Sometimes that intoxication could be in with something that's very good. Whatever you're intoxicated with, if you're ignoring the other things that are important and things get way out of balance, it's not good. So this is very representational of our big dreams and ambitions. Rahu rules technology, outer space, creativity, innovation, the new age. It's unconventional and very forward looking. Rahu is what helps us to have more progress. So it has its really great benefits, but in Pisces, where it's creating the eclipse with the sun, it could bring in a big project. It really accesses our subconscious mind. And that's why you want to take the time to sit, tune in, to meditate more, to pay attention to your dreams, to journal. Your dreams can be very potent during this time. And, when I journal your dreams, like when you wake up and take a moment to actually record what's going on, the symbology in your dreams. And we go to other realms, like it or not, in dreamland. So there's a lot of information that also comes through. The healing, there's a lot more healing energy, and it's very innovative with this energy. We'll see more innovative growth around spirituality and consciousness with Rahu and Pisces over the next, it's not quite 18 months now. What is it? 15 months or 14 months, something like that. This could represent astral travel, very lucid dreaming, and really working with your imagination. So creativity can be really heightened here. And then we put Venus in this placement, which also helps our creativity. So, the artist in you, whether you consider yourself an artist or not, a great time to be creative. That's a great way to use this energy. It can really give birth to new ideas, innovation, solving problems. And it's a great time to go inside for spiritual expansion. It's said that the spiritual practices that we do during this time of the eclipse are exponential. It isn't the time to go to the big party. It's not the time to go be around a bunch of people. It is a time to really tune in and allow that eclipse portal, to open that door for you and see what's being revealed for you. It seems like an outer event, and it is quite, auspicious. It's not auspicious. It's quite a sight to see the shadow cast over the sun. And I say it's not auspicious because in Vedic astrology, it's not auspicious to view the eclipse. It's an inward time. So, if you do, make sure you have the right protection and make sure that you are aware of your surroundings. People aren't always in their right mind during eclipse time. This is in the nakshatra of Revate. Revate is the transition from endings to new beginnings. Something is transforming in this incredible water sign. Now, Revate is the last nakshatra of the zodiac. And then we have that Gandanta point, because it's not a nakshatra that transcends to the next sign, to Aries, because it's fire and water. Then we've got Ashwini. So this is the very end. It's sort of that, very transformational, sensitive, devotional, empathic, intuitive end of the zodiac. So it's endings, completions. It's the finality of time. The symbol that represents this nakshatra, where the solar eclipse is happening within the sign of Pisces. This is where we get into the finer details with Vedic astrology. The symbol is a drum that marks time. And on this planet, we have the perception of time. And we feel that in our lives, in our bodies, in the way we live. And it's also known as the great womb of the Divine Mother that, again, gives us endings and new beginnings. So what's really ending during this time, allow it to end, allow it closure, do it with grace and reverence. There is a new beginning, and you may not know what it is yet, and that's unnerving, but this will play out over the next 6 months. That's how eclipses work. And in October, when we have the next eclipse, you are going to get some, by then you'll look back and see what this all meant, but you'll feel the completion and culmination to this. Really, this is a place of getting ready to birth what's new. And in order to do that, we need to allow to dissolve whatever is ready to dissolve. The primary motivation with this nakshatra, just like with Pisces, is spiritual liberation, spiritual growth. And that is not about getting the next material thing. And that's not to say you can't have material opportunities come through the eclipse portal. You absolutely can. But it's going to need to be aligned with the underpinning of who you are on a spiritual level, on an essence level. This very much opens up our intuitive gifts. Like, again, take that time for deeper spiritual practice, for meditation, for yoga, for breath work, for, visualization, for tuning in, for walking in nature, for being quiet, just sitting quietly, connecting with what you are devoted to. That devotional, that bhakti, what are you really devoted to? What are you creating in your life? What do you want to create? What if it was in devotion to the divine, devotion into your higher evolution, to all of our collective higher evolution? These are the things that this placement is bringing forward in us if we open up to it. There's a breaking down of barriers here in this placement so that you can remember who you are. And if you remember who you are, it's much easier for us to see the divine in one another, the true essence of namaste. This placement also can bring in material wealth. It can bring in prosperity on all levels, but it needs to have that underpinning of being aligned spiritually. Pushan is the deity here, which is very much the nurturer, the protector of the herds and the flocks. Not so much for personal gain, but for collective gain. So what if we're all really focused on our own growth and evolution, our own growth in involution, what we do want to create, for our own happiness, our own alignment. And if we're truly honest to that plays into this tapestry of the whole, the collective that we are all in. And if we can pay attention to our part and understand what we're contributing, then that helps to shift the paradigm and raise the consciousness of all. This is a very poignant time. There's a lot of creative intelligence that can come through, and I really encourage you to pay attention inwardly, to take the time to really, really dive in. This eclipse, the sun being the soul, the moon being the mind, the earth being the body, all lined up to create this shadow on the sun, then this is a time to really dive into your spiritual practices, and let's see what comes through. I want to hear from you. What are you wrestling with? What do you want to have come through, and what do you notice is falling away? What is coming through? This is a time to be careful on your schedule. If you're going to travel, give yourself lots of time and space. Don't if you don't have to. Great time for, again, keeping your schedule light so you can be present with what arises. This is about the unexpected. Unexpected comes up during this time. Do not make choices from urgency. If you're feeling urgency, like I have to do it now, check the facts. Do you have to, or is that self-imposed urgency? Very important to know. Give yourself the breadth, the space, the time. And after this, the clarity will come. And again, if you're running deeper dive on that, let's look at your chart for that. This will play out over the next 6 months. Mantra is incredibly important and another wonderful devotional spiritual practice. You could do the Gayatri mantra, you could any of Durga's mantras, the Ganesha, I often do in the healing circles on the full moons, the great remover of obstacles, all super, super important. After the eclipse, we will have Mercury just coming right into Pisces again, retrograding in Pisces. So watch your communication. Go back to the April update. We've got a Uranus conjunction. We've got the Mercury retrograde. We've got Venus involved in this. I talk about all of that in the April update. I go through all the conjunctions, all the dates, and all the transits. And I so appreciate you being here. Leave any of your questions for me, comments. I so love reading them and communicating with you. Again, if you can get an eclipse reading, the free chart calculator, the Sacred Wealth Code quiz, all my resources are down in the link below. And I so appreciate you subscribing and sharing this as well.